This is my story on the journey of the Mirror Labyrinth. You see, it was just like any other day. I started with a flyer left on my windshield wiper, slick with grease and smelling faintly of copper. Step right up to Giggles and Grins. Admission-free, exit mandatory. You see, the town of Oak Haven was dead, of course, after dark, and I was foolish enough to be bored. The funhouse stood at the edge of the abandoned fairgrounds like a rotting molar. Its neon sign buzzed a sickly, instrument yellow, spelling out a jumbled version of its name. G-I-G-L-E-S. Giggles. The front doors, heavy painted clown face panels with hollow eyes, swung inward automatically as I approached. The moment I crossed the threshold, the door slammed shut behind me with a sickening metallic thud. A heavy deadbolt clicked into place. A tiny warped rendition of Pop Goes the Weasel began to screech from overhead speakers, slowly dying down until it sounded like dying groans. A glowing, jagged sign above the first corridor read, "Your only goal is to out-survive the laugh." You see, this was the first phase. This was the armor of amusement. I find myself in a narrow, scarcely painted hallway, decorated with dripping red polka dots that looked suspiciously fresh. The air was thick, with the stench of ozone and old decay. Ahead of me lay a spinning turnstile, and past it a metal table bolted to the floor. It was covered in an array of warped, rusted weapons modified from carnival props. There was a cotton candy scooper with jagged, serrated edges dripping in dried rust, even a heavy mallet fashioned from a stuffed clown head. The inside stuffed with concrete and spiked with roofing nails. There's even a sledgehammer wrapped in barbed wire. A pair of shears meant for hedge trimming, stained black at the tips. My heart hammered against my ribs. I grabbed the spiked clown mallet. It was heavy, awkward, but it offered reach. A mechanical cackle echoed from the ceiling. A trapdoor in the ceiling dropped down, and a swarm of mechanical spider-like creatures with human porcelain doll faces scuttled down the walls towards me. Their tiny mechanical joints clicking frantically, I swung the mallet with everything I had. The first doll spider shattered into a cloud of porcelain shrapnel and sparking wires. I crushed two more, the nails tearing through their cloth bodies, and bolted past the turnstile before the rest could swarm my boots. This is when I entered phase 2, the Hall of Fractured Truths. The corridor opened into a massive circular chamber. The Hall of Mirrors, hundreds of floor-to-ceiling glass panels stretched out in a dizzying maze. The music grew louder, shifting into distorted, echoing laughter that seemed to come from inside my own skull. I stepped inside, gripping the mallet tight. The mirrors didn't just distort my reflection, they twisted it into something grotesque. In one pane, my face was stretched into a permanent, bloody grin. In another, my limbs were elongated like spider legs. Then I noticed the movement. My reflections weren't copying me. In the mirror to my left, the stretched grin version of myself raised a jagged glass shard and grinned wider, its eyes rolling back into white sockets. Clink. The reflection punched straight through the glass from me inside. I threw myself backwards as a blood-slick glass-encrusted hand reached out from the mirror pane. Crawling to the air where my throat had been, I scrambled to my feet, swinging the spiked mallet blindly into the glass. The mirror shattered outward. It sprayed razor-sharp shards across the floor. The entity inside shrieked, a sound like grinding teeth, and dissolved into a puddle of dark, vicious fluid. I had to run. Every reflection around me began to convulse, punching, tearing, and stepping out of their glass prisons. I sprinted for the maze, guided only by the glint of the exit door. 50 yards away, I smashed through a wicker mirror, blocking my path, slicing my forearm opening on a jagged edge, but adrenaline numbed the pain. This was my final phase. Phase 3, the final gauntlet. I burst for the final pane of glass, tumbling onto a slick metal slide that pitched downward at a terrifying 60-degree angle. Slid down into darkness, skin burning against the steel, till I crashed into a pit of foam blocks. Above me, a blinding spotlight clicked on. I was in the grand finale room. A circus ring surrounded by rusted iron cages. The exit door was dead ahead. A heavy steel fire exit with a glowing green sign, but a massive chain. A digital padlock barred my exit, barred my freedom. A glowing red countdown timer hung above the door. 2 minutes. 1 minute 59 seconds. From the shadows of the cages, a towering figure emerged. It stood nearly 7 feet tall, wearing a shredded suit-stained gesture suit. Its face was a permanent painted porcelain mask, weeping black tears. In its right hand, it dragged a massive roaring chainsaw, dripping with dark grease. The jester tilted his head, a muffled and human chuckle rattling from beneath the mask. It revved the chainsaw, keeping up a thick cloud of blue exhaust smoke. 2 minutes to crack the code or become part of a decor. The jester lunged. The blade came down in a vicious arc. I threw myself to the side, and the chainsaw bit deep into the concrete floor, sending a blinding shower of white-hot sparks flying into the air. I scrambled up, grabbing the heavy rusted shear I'd picked up along the way. Hurled them like a javelin, they caught the jester squarely in the shoulder, sticking deep into the padding of its costume. It stumbled, roaring in fury. I dashed to a control panel, mounted beside the locked door. A riddle was scrawled in grease pencil across the screen. What has a mouth but never speaks and a heart that never beats? Think, I muttered, my hand shaking violently as the jester ripped the shears from its shoulder and turned back towards me. Its heavy boots stomping closer, the chainsaw blade whined, accelerating to a deafening pitch. A funhouse? No, a corpse. The jester raised the blade, stepping into striking distance. The smell of gasoline and rotting carnations filled my lungs. I slammed my fist on the keyboard. Corpse! A loud beep sounded through the air. The digital padlock flashed green. The heavy train dropped with a deafening crash against the concrete. Just as the jester swung the chainsaw toward my neck, I threw my weight against the heavy steel door, tumbling backward out into the cool, damp night air of the abandoned fairgrounds. I slammed the door as hard as I can, shut behind me, engaging the exterior deadbolt. Frantic turn, my keyless grip inside the chainsaw roared against the metal door, chewing savagely at the steel, accompanied by a chorus of mocking, distorted laughter. I didn't look back. I ran from the dark fairgrounds toward the highway, bleeding, battered, but alive. This is a lesson. My friends, don't ever accept anything for free, because you never know when your admission may have no fee, but in the end, your life is what might leave.